Okay, very well. So, good morning. So, you guys are in what, day 2 of academic advantage. So, hopefully, you guys, really take to heed what's going to be shared with you within these next 2 weeks. I mean, this is all about setting you guys up to be successful, not only in college, but in successful in life. So, finances, money, that's going to be a big part of your college career. Not only just worry about how you're going to pay for school. I know this might be some of the biggest concerns that you may have or maybe your family has right now. But I've noticed a lot of things is some students forget about the day-to-day life. How do I survive day-to-day? So budgeting has really became, something I have got interested in within the past couple of years as I have experienced life situations. And I wish this could have been something that could have taught to me a little early on, even while I was in college or even right after college. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So hopefully you get something from this presentation today, maybe something that can help you, perhaps your families as well. So we all know we want to secure the bag. But in order to secure the bag, you got to know how to handle your finances. So that's the big part. You always hear get money. But when you get it, what do you do with it? That's going to be what's important. So we're going to get started. So a little bit about me. So once again, I am Lisa Lyons. I been working here at St. Xavier University for 13 years as of May 31st. I work in the Records and Advising Office as an academic resource advisor. I also teach a section of transitions. I don't know if any of you all have me for this upcoming semester, but I teach transitions. And I also oversee a program called Rebound, which I pray that none of you all end up in after the first semester, because that's for students who end up on academic probation. So hopefully we don't see anybody from Academic Advantage in that program. So I also advise the Black Student Union on campus here. So that's an organization that's welcome to anyone. You don't have to be African American to join. It's open to all walks of life. And I'm very active on campus with various activities, and especially with Black History Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, I do play an influential role in helping to create events for those months. I am a sports official. I am licensed by the Illinois High School Association. So I used to do volleyball. I haven't did volleyball in the past 2 seasons, but I used to referee volleyball. I do track and cross country. I judge cheerleading and dance. So I've been doing that for a little bit now as a way to earn extra income. And then last but not least, I am a YouTuber. I have a page that's called Lady Lee. It started out as a shy hobby of mine. So when I say shy, because I never really like to talk to people about me having an actual YouTube channel. But it started out with me just talking about my love for purses, and now it has merged into me doing show reviews and just talking about day-to-day life topics. So it's growing, it's progressing, and now I'm sharing more about it. I used to be shy because I didn't want people to go look at the channel, but I guess that's the purpose, right? To get viewers and subscribers, so I'm more open about it. So that's just a little bit about me. So I got one stat for you. Nearly 3/4 of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and they are one emergency away from financial ruins. So what that means is that people are just, if they did not get paid this upcoming Friday or next Friday, would they have the means to survive? Could they function until they got paid again? Or let's say something financially tragic happened, would they be able to survive? So that's something to really think about. People are out here, they're just swiping their cards, credit cards, debit cards, and they don't have any concept as to where money is going. And that goes for not only young people, but older people as well. It's just America in general we're really, materialistic. It's a lot of consumerism going on. So we're not as savvy with our money as we should be. How many of you all heard, or people have been telling you, oh, you're about to go off to college, you're going to be broke, you're going to be hungry? How many of you all heard that term? Okay. Okay, they told me the same thing 20 years ago because when next month, August would make 20, I went off to college 20 years ago, and they told me the same thing. You're going to be broke. You're going to be hungry. I don't think I was ever hungry because the freshman 15 came and attacked me really good. And then broke, I worked. My parents sent me money. I felt like I never really was broke and hungry. So don't feed into that hype. And that's good news because you do not have to be a broke college student. There's so many opportunities out there for internships and leadership positions that pay money in addition to whatever job you may take on through this time, but you do not have to be a broke college student. Although, so how many of you all work? I guess that would be a question. Work. Okay. How many of you all looking to work once the semester starts? Okay, so some people looking at jobs. Okay. How many people like don't have to work because their families are going to support them? Okay, nobody raised their hands. Okay, so that's interesting. You know, at this age, a lot of students feel like, oh, my parents going to look after me. You know, I don't have to worry about money. It's never too early to practice good money habits. Don't wait till you get out of college and get a job. You can practice good money management right now. And if you learn how to manage your money, you'll be able to, you know, enjoy other things with your money. So let's talk about why do we budget. There's a couple reasons why we budget. To have enough money for what you need and what's important. You know, you can't spend what you don't have, right? So it's important to know how much money you are working with and what is needed at that point. To get out of debt. A lot of people have more than enough money, but they are in debt, but they don't realize. You see what I'm saying? It's like to get out of debt. So some people are in debt just because they don't have a concept of how they're spending your money. To stay out of debt, not to overspend, not to, you know, not to acquire things and not have enough. And then a budget gives you a snapshot of where your money going. If you sit down and you map out where all your money is going, you know, you'll have an idea of if you spend too much money on food or shopping or entertainment. So getting started. So how do we start with this? First of all, you need to determine how you're going to get paid. Are you a person who's going to get a monthly check? Are you a person that's going to get a weekly check? Some jobs pay weekly. Are you going to get bi-weekly? That's every 2 weeks. Or are you going to get some form of allowance from a parent or a relative? You need to determine how you're going to get your money and how much you're going to have. So it's important to know how much money that you are working with before you even start this budget. Next thing, write down all your bills. Now, I know you all are college students now. You may be responsible for a cell phone. Some people drive. Their parents may make them be responsible for their car insurance or the maintenance of the car. Some students may have to be responsible for some household bills. That's the reality. You know, once you graduate from high school, now they consider you a young adult. You need to pull your weight. So you need to write down all the bills and expenses. Some of you all may be responsible for putting money onto your tuition. That's something else to think about. Or you're responsible for buying your own books. So you need to write down all the bills and expenses that you're going to encounter. And then what are your other expenses? I see ladies in here looking pretty stylish. So are you a person that's going to get your hair done? Guys, are you going to get your hair cut? Are you a person that likes to do your nails and your feet? Or are you a person that likes, you know, you pay for different hobbies like a gym membership, or you have subscribed to AMC, that new movie theater. I think it's a new movie theater subscription where you can go unlimited amount of times through the month to the movie theaters. Or if you have Hulu or Netflix, those are memberships that cost monthly. So what are your other expenses that you will encounter? You might like to go out to eat. So you got to take those in consideration. What are your expenses? And last but not least, try to save something. I know people think, oh, I'm young, my family pay for everything, or they handle all the big bills in life. But it's important to have some sort of savings. Life happens, and in this road that we have on campus, I'm always having students tell me they can't afford this, or the tire went out in the car, now they're carless for a little while till they earn money to get a tire, or they ran out of money for their venture card. So you always want to have some money. Say, I don't care if you're only saving $5 to $10 a paycheck, save something. Just have a little pot, because life happens. Things happen. We pray that we move through the days and nothing tragedy happen or just minor mishaps happen. But save money. It pays to have a savings. Have a little savings. You never know. You might have to go bail a family member out or bail out a friend. Think crazy things happen in college. You never know. I had a couple of friends who I used to get calls sometimes saying so-and-so got arrested. Can you give us $5 or $10 to help get them out? So it's just little things like that would take place. You just never know. Well, hopefully you don't have to bail nobody out of jail, but you just never know. So, credit cards. Who owns a credit card currently? No, don't be shy. Raise them up. I want to see them. Raise them high. You got a credit card? Okay. That's not a problem, In my advice, I would tell people, based on my experience, don't do it if you can avoid it at all costs. But I say if you do have one or you're planning to attain one, just stick to one. Stick to one. You're going to be in college now. We're kind of lucky here at St. Xavier. We don't have a lot of credit card solicitation companies coming on campus. I can remember when I was in college, especially within them first couple of weeks of school, we used to get hit hard with all types, Visa, MasterCard, Discover. Everybody will come on campus and entice us with T-shirts and gifts and all types of stuff. I remember one U.S. Bank, it was a Visa logo card. They came on campus one time and they actually gave us $25 cash to sign up for their credit card. So you know what everybody did? They signed up because they want the free $25. But the problem is, what is the responsibility after you get these nice prizes and cash? So stick to one. If you're going to do it, stick to one. You want to also make sure it has a low interest rate. The lower your interest rate, the lower your payment will be, monthly payment will be. So the higher the interest rate is, the higher the payment can become. It's really based on the amount you owe. So you want to make sure that you are able to manage that. Also, pay your bill on time. A lot of these companies, they do charge $35 for late fee. So let's say if your bill was only $15 to $20, but you was late. So not only that you have to go and pay that, they're going to slap a $35 fee on the card if it's late. You also want to avoid getting too close to your credit limit. That kind of affects your credit score. As you become an adult, you want to buy a car or purchase property or even rent an apartment eventually. A lot of these companies, they run your credit score. Or let's say some jobs may run a credit report on you just to see how you manage your finances and your credit. You want to make sure that you don't hit those credit limits because it does have a negative effect on your credit score. At this point, some of you all don't have credit cards. It may be beneficial for you to get one at least so you can establish credit, because I have seen people who were not able to purchase cars like out of college because they didn't have a lot of credit or they had to get a co-signer. So it's okay to establish credit, but be responsible. Don't go and swipe up the card just because you're hungry and you don't have money, but you want to be responsible with it. And avoid fees. Avoid all possible fees. If it's, I would say do not get a credit card that charge you an annual fee. Some credit cards charge you $69, $39, like an annual fee. You might want to avoid those cards too, because that's just additional money they are trying to get from credit cards. Usually credit cards are supposed to be used for what? Emergencies. What is an emergency? Oh, I had to get a tow, or something happened. We have to go out of town and we have to take a plane ride or get a train, or that's what emergencies are. Emergencies are not, oh, I ran out of cash and so-and-so want to go see, the Equalizer 2 movie. That's not considered an emergency. Emergencies are like necessary things you need to take care of at that moment that's going to be essential. So that's what we consider emergencies. Needs versus wants. Now you're in college. You gotta differentiate what is a need versus a want. You need books to be successful in college. You need supplies to be successful in college. You do not necessarily need the latest iPhone. You don't necessarily need to have all the hair bundles for the next hairdo, but that's important. You need to determine what is a need and what is a want. I see too many students coming to college and do not have all their books. Too many. That's a top priority. That's what you should really be working on in your first week of school. First few weeks of school is attaining all your books. Professors use books. The material is in the book. Codes, if you're going to take Math 090, Math 099, there is a code you have to buy. You cannot function in that class without that code. They might let you do the trial, but I believe the trial is only for a week or so, or 7 days. But you need that code to be successful. So you need to have your supplies. Something I used to do when I was in college, when I used to go home, I would work all the hours I could, and I would make sure whatever I raised for that summer, a portion of that went towards my books. So that way it was no excuse for me not to have the book. There are other resources you can look to. Our university library do have books on reserve. You can't take them out though, but you have to be careful. You have to make sure that's the right edition, because there are several editions of one book. Sometimes you can ask the professor. They may have a spare copy, but that's not always the case. Sometimes if you're taking classes that have novels or reading books, you can pick those up from the local library, but it should be no excuse why you don't have your books. Books should be top priority. If you're doing art, you need all your art supplies, your canvas, your paints, your brushes, your art tools. You need to have your supplies. If you're going to play an instrument, are you renting the instrument, or are you actually going to buy the instrument flat out? You need to make sure you have your supplies. One of the reasons a lot of freshmen are not successful because they simply are not prepared. Being prepared is having the stuff you need. You should never come to class without any pens or paper. Notebooks. You always should have to have some. I used to have a student that come to class. Now, granted, it is just transitions. It's once a week. It's only 50 minutes. And you're not doing heavily intense stuff. But I used to have this one lady. She would come to class just with her hairbrush and her wallet and her cell phone. And I'm like, well, what are you accomplishing this week in class? Nothing. Is she still here? No. So you want to make sure that you're always prepared. Another thing, needs versus wants, you have to consider for those. How many of you all commuting? Okay. Living on campus? Okay, just one person. So for you guys who are living on campus, needs for you are going to be, do I eat on campus? Am I able to go into the diner and am I going to put money on my Cougar card and be able to eat out the diner? Or am I going to bring my lunch from home? Or am I going out to Culver's or McDonald's or Portillo's? I'm just thinking of stuff in the area. Am I going to be doing that? And that can add up too. So you have to determine that. So you got to determine a need. A need is life essential things. What do I need to function while I'm here on campus? What do I need to be successful in college? Wants, having the latest iPhone is not necessarily a need. Yes, you can argue, well, I can take notes and I can do pictures and that will help me for notes, but it's not necessarily a need. That's more so of a want. So you have to discuss needs versus wants. Also, laptops. I have a lot of students ask me, do I need to get a laptop? It can help you, but the good thing is on campus we do have a couple of resources that will allow you to rent out laptops while you're here on campus. We do have these lovely computer labs. The library, they have computers set up for you to do work. So there's plenty of places on campus that you can do your work from. There's plenty of opportunities to do loan. They loan laptops out. You have to bring them back. So no, you don't necessarily have to get a laptop, but if you want to, if you feel like that's going to help you, that's great. But determine your needs and wants. Next, living on campus versus commuting to campus. It's different things you have to consider. I'm just going to have these all pulled up. So if you all still contemplating if you want to live on campus, maybe this is something to consider. If you're living on campus, here's things you don't have to concern yourself with. No commute. You can really just roll out of bed, take a few steps across the quad, and you're here in the Ward Academic Center, or if you have class, over to Graham School of Management. So basically, you really don't have a large commute. You have access to a meal plan, so you'll have a meal plan. The beauty thing about SXU, unlike other colleges, is no set meal thing. So it's not like you only can get a set amount of meals per week or per day. You know, you get all your money up front, and it's just deduct every time you eat. So that's a good thing. You don't have to count meals. You have a meal plan, so you know where your food is coming from. You have 24-hour access to the campus community. So that means you can work out at the Shannon Center. You can stay in the library late to midnight or whenever it closed. You can take advantage of the football games, the basketball games, everything that goes on campus. You have full access to the campus 24 hours a day. They say less distractions. I beg to differ sometimes depending on the person. But you are away from home, and you're away from those ups and downs. And, you know, you have to understand everybody's home is not conducive to living. I would talk about my brother, for instance. He stayed home for 2 years and did community college. And, you know, I love my mom and dad. We love them to death. But they loud, the TV's loud. It's just a phone ringing, people stopping by. And it's just not a quiet environment. So my brother said he would never do, like, by the time he started college, I think I was home from grad school by then. So he would never do his homework at home. He would do nothing. He may type a paper here and there at home, but he never did any of his study at home. He stayed on campus, or he went to a Chicago public library. He never did anything at home that pertained to studying or reading or focusing, just because, you know, our house was loud. And it's the same way for you all. For those of you commuting, that's going to be something that you have to think about as well. So for your commuters, here's some things you have to think about. You know, how would you get to campus? Are you going to drive? Parking, you have to take parking into consideration. Are your parents going to drop you off? Or are you going to take public transportation? So if you do public transportation, most likely it'll probably be the CTA or PACE bus or trains and Metro. If you take Metro, you have to get those bus passes, venture cards, and Metro cards. So that's something for you to consider. What is going to be your game plan for food? As I just mentioned, are you going to be able to load your Cougar card up, have with a certain amount of money, and just swipe in the diner? Or are you going to bring your food from home? I can say within maybe the past 6 years, I have seen a lot more students bringing their food to campus. You will see when you get into the diner, it's usually long lines by the microwaves in the diner, because a lot of people are warming up food that they're bringing from home, or, you know, food that they, you know, saved up and gathered together, or leftovers. So you will see that, but you need to plan for food. Although you know you're going home every day, you will be on campus for an extended amount of time. How much extra time will you have to stay on campus? For some students, you can get out of class, stick around, join a club, organization. Some of you all may be summoned back home because you have to take care of siblings or sick grandparents or sick parents. So how much time would you stay on campus? That is something to consider. I usually tell students, do not rush to go off campus and go home. You want to embrace, you know, things that's going around, especially this upcoming, the first weeks. There's a lot of things going on. The Welcome Week, free activities. They're taking students bowling. They're going down to Navy Pier. It's all this cool different things that are taking place for free. And you want to, those are where you start creating some of your collegiate moments. So you definitely don't want to rush and, you know, get back home. Home is going to be there. Nothing's going to change. Everybody pulling on you, it's still going to be home. But, you know, meet some people here and make the most of your experiences. So that's something to consider. Now, here's the fun part. I forgot to put that. Can you study and do homework at home? We talked about that. So can you study or do homework at home? I know just based on how home was for me. I went away to school, so I didn't have that issue, but you know, I knew home was not a place to study. So if you do identify that early, you know, make sure you stick around here and take advantage of study spaces here on campus. So here's the fun part. Now you're going to create your own budget. How about that? So I gave you this sheet. I want you to work on the side that actually have the categories. On the back is blank. That's for later in life. But what you're going to do is create a budget. So it's up to you. You don't have to be specific. You know, if you want to give a false number, you know, if you don't want to let people know what you're making because it's none of their business, I get it. But I want you to put together a budget. Now, if you're not working, you know, just estimate like if you was working. Or if you get allowance, just use your allowance. But I want you to set up a budget. And then, you know, I want a couple people to share. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to work on it. Take in consideration if you're getting paid monthly. Take in consideration if you're getting paid weekly or bi-weekly. So take that, and like I said, you can follow. If you want to play around with your numbers, you can play around with your numbers. And nothing is wrong. You got questions, that's fine. Nothing is wrong. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So